Hey, what's up everybody? It's A-Bomb here, and how you guys doing this afternoon? Alrighty then. Um, so we're gonna be doing, sorry, trying to walk around and get ready at the same time as I'm doing this video. I actually have to go to work here in less than an hour, and I still gotta eat and smoke and all that, but yeah, I decided to do the dumb thing, try to do a video on top of everything else I'm gonna do. The title is a bit funny. The reason it is 10-ish seasons and not exactly 10 is because there aren't, like, as far as I know, there aren't 10 definitive seasons of Total Drama like that were made by I think the company is called Fresh TV. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that. That might be who's making this Venture Camp, which, again, that's why it's ish as a placeholder for like the 10, because there's 9. As a placeholder for the 10, I decided to do honorable mentions, and whereas I had considered putting the Total Drama reunion on that, the fact that there was only one episode of the Total Drama reunion and then it got canceled, it makes it a little hard to rank it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a phenomenal first episode, but a one episode, it just, I can't count it as a season if it only has one episode. Like if I did a top 10 episodes of Total Drama, then maybe I would qualify that, but on this list, no. So I did include this Venture Camp, but rather than you know, give this Venture Camp 3 slots, considering that it's got 3 seasons, it's only got the spot at number 10 because it is more of a fan-made series. The only place I can find it right now is on YouTube. That might be the only place it exists. As far as I know, you can also find it on Patreon. It's a really good series. It's a spin-off slash sequel slash, like, I don't know, fan fiction of Total Drama. There are no returning characters that I know of, but there is mention of Chris McClane, especially in season 2, specifically. Season 2 has a different host than seasons 1, or, well, actually just season 1, because season 3 has the same host. But season 2 has a different host than season 1. It's a female host of what I believe to be Latino origins. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe that she might be Hispanic, Latino, whatever. Aside from that, though, it is revealed that she is the, and I don't believe that this Venture Camp can be considered canon, but the, you know, possible daughter of Chris McClane. She does mention him quite a few times, and while delirious, Oliver thanks Crystal McClane, which is the name of the host, as Chris McClane, and I believe Oliver also has some backstory with Chris McClane too. I believe he was a former intern that, you know, Chris just went a little bit overboard with, and it caused him to lose it a little bit. Regardless of the fact, I would definitely recommend this Venture Camp, especially this Venture Camp All-Stars, because that it hits so well. The challengers are so good. They actually brought in all-stars, you know, people who people love to see, and like they didn't destroy the characters and all that. It's a wonderful thing. But we are going to move on to number 9, which is our first official season of Total Drama, and that is going to be Pahkitew Island. Now, the reason that Pahkitew Island is at the bottom of like the actual seasons, and you might be wondering why it's not like over All Stars. The reason being is Pockettail Island has almost nothing going for it. The challenges kind of suck. The characters were badly developed. Chris McLean's insanity was just off the walls in this season. The whole Metal Island thing it didn't hit right. Everything about Pockettail Island was just bad in my opinion, which, don't get me wrong, All Stars was not too much better, but I will get into why All Stars was a little bit higher on the list. For now though, Pockettail Island, it sets a 9 as a grim reminder of how you can try to just use the star power from a show to keep it going without actually putting in the effort to do good writing or anything like that. And moving on to number 8, you probably guessed it, you probably thought that this was going to be at number 9 or possibly even at number 10, All Stars. Now the reason that Total Drama All Stars is at the 8th place and not lower than that is because it has one singular thing going for it: star power. Not even great star power, but I mean they did bring in fan favorites like Duncan and Courtney and Gwen, and they brought back some of the better of the Revenge of the Island cast. But I think we can all agree that the cast could have been picked better. For starters, the All-Stars cast kind of all ran their course. They all had stories that had a start and a finish. And when you bring a character like that back into the fray, you have two options. You can either completely diminish the character by getting rid of them early, or you can completely destroy the character by trying to give them something to their story that it didn't need. And that is exactly what happened with almost everybody that attended All Stars. It was a total failure in my opinion. The only reason it managed to make it higher than Pockettail Island is the challenges were slightly better than the ones in Pockettail Island. I guess I can't say slightly better. I did like the challenges, some of the challenges in All Stars, but the way off the island was literal crap. I think we can all agree the All Stars kind of just sucked. Now moving on from All Stars, we're going to go into Action. Now the reason that Total Drama Action is where it's at is because basically it's just hard to really get into Action, considering the fact that Total Drama Island before it was a great start to the series, and the following season, Total Drama World Tour, was at one point in time the very peak of the series. So Action just kind of flopped because it was in between those. It didn't offer much to the table, and it was one of the first seasons that kind of started destroying characters. For starters, Jeff and Bridget became a little annoying to the point where they were voted off very quickly. Trent became obsessive and unlikable. They still have not done anything to try to fix Trent or his character. The best thing about Action, and it was almost enough to put it higher, but it wasn't enough, was the challenges were amazing, and some characters got better development, like Justin. Justin spoke a lot more lines. You actually got to see whether he was supposed to be a good guy or a bad guy, or whatever. He got character development. Lindsay went from being kind of a lost puppy dog to she was I wouldn't say she was the new Heather, but like, I can't even really say she was a bad guy. She just tried to do her own thing. And like, she tried to have people follow her. She just didn't inspire the same loyalty that Heather did. But it was still a great thing for Lindsay to see her really grow out of that, like, I'm just another dumb blonde stereotype. She was a lot more than that. So Action did have its merits, but the, you know, the reward challenges were kind of crap, which, don't get me wrong, I do kind of miss the fact that, like, Chris McLean did used to give rewards out once in a while. Like, he didn't used to be such a terribly written, like, just evil, sadistic character. There actually used to be some positive things about Chris McLean. And Action really showcases it with all the reward challenges. It's just, there were so many reward challenges, and it was really hard to tell when a character was going to go home. So it kind of made, like, each viewing a little boring. Especially, Action ran for the same amount of episodes that Island did, I'm pretty sure. 26 episodes. And it did not have, the Island had 22 campers in all. 2 returning campers. And what I mean by 2 returning campers isn't like 2 from the beginning season. I mean, like, 2 characters got eliminated and came back in the same season, being Eva and Izzy. So the fact that Action only had, you could say 14, but I only consider it 12 because Jeff and Bridget were eliminated so fast, and they were both eliminated together, that it was just basically 12. And at that point, like, the reward challenges actually, like, outweigh the amount of eliminations you can have unless you just kept bringing back characters, which I think that they did have a couple returns, at least 2. Izzy came back again, and Owen came back. But I don't know if anyone else ever did. The point being, the Action just, it didn't hit on the right marks. I am going to move on from Action though, because I have been talking about it for a while. And like I said, this is kind of cutting into my, like, I have to go eat and get ready for work. I'm actually, like, packing a bowl while I'm sitting here doing this. So we're going to move on to Revenge of the Island. Now, Revenge of the Island is, I don't know. The best way I can say is, like, it is a very good mid-card. It was like the start of the series going into its plummet, but it still had, like, some pretty decently written characters. Dawn was very intriguing. Everybody loves Dawn. They want to see more of her. We're very sad, like, we didn't get to see more of her. Brick was pretty engaging. He was funny. He was likable. B, not speaking a word. I loved the guy to death. I was very upset when he got eliminated because, you know, there was a lot that he contributed to the team. Scott was a nice change of pace, and Scott's a bit of an anomaly himself, and the fact that most people don't like him. I do, simply because Heather was like an unlikable villain. Or rather, like, you could like her sass, but she didn't really have much that, like, you know, you smiled when she came onto the, you know, camera. The Scott, you could, because he was kind of bad at being a bad guy. So it was easy to laugh at Scott every time he tried to do something mean or quote-unquote evil, and then it just kind of blew up in his face. So yeah, Revenge of the Island did kind of hit It was the start of like a lot more ridiculous themes though, which I think hurt its likability. It is also worth mentioning, and it is why it was able to beat Action out in terms of like why it was able to make it to this spot. With Revenge of the Islands, it was the very first time, and I believe the only time, that they've had an all of the same gender finale. Season 1, it was Gwen and Owen. Season 2, it was Duncan and Beth. Season 3, it was Heather and Alejandro. And then with All Stars, it was Mike and Zoe. Pockettail Island was Sean and Sky. They just had so many like seasons, and Revenge of the Island is the only one that has two males going at it in the finale instead of a male and a female. And that to me was kind of cool because it subverted expectations. You know, I guarantee that everybody there thought that Zoe was going to the finale. I sure did. And when Lightning picked Cameron, that was just, I don't know. Like, it made sense that he would pick Cameron. And it shocked me. It was such a good play that it was like, okay. It did something that I had never seen before, and that was great. We're going to move on to Island. Total Drama Island is where it's at because it was the start of it all. Which means it has a lot of star power. These are like the OGs. These are the people that started it all. These are the people that set the bar. Why is it not higher on the list, you might be wondering? Well, because it is the first season, there are a lot of characters who got very little or no character development whatsoever. Characters like Katie and Sadie, Tyler, Noah, Eva, Ezekiel. A lot of the early on eliminations just did not get any character development. You didn't really care that they went home. There was no attachment. So Island did kind of get hurt by the fact that they didn't focus on developing characters too much, and I think that that's why they probably shortened the cast for the newer seasons, because it is extremely hard, and take it from somebody who writes a lot, it is extremely hard to develop 22 individual personalities, especially when like you consider that, you know, a couple of these guys are going to be going home quickly. So like, why would you make Ezekiel likable or, you know, well thought out when he was supposed to go home extremely fast? Also, some eliminations just kind of seemed forced, and like they didn't want somebody to go home, and so they had to throw someone else under the block. Like with Ezekiel, I felt like his elimination was pretty forced. He did absolutely nothing to irk his team up until he just made that random comment, which got him eliminated. Or like the stuff with Lindsay, how by technicality of the way it was worded, she got eliminated. Or DJ getting eliminated because, again, technicalities. It seems like some people, they could not find a legitimate reason to boot, and so they had to throw something special in there. And so that is why it did not make it higher up on the list. But keep in mind, the island is very, very beloved to my heart, and it is one of my most rewatched seasons. The Total Drama reboot comes up in the number 4 spot, right above Island, and the reason that it gets the number 4 spot is because it took everything that Island did and kind of intensified it. Again, I think it was easier to do because the cast was a lot shorter. It went from 22 competitors to I think it's 14, it might be 16, somewhere in that range though. The cast became a lot shorter, which makes it a lot easier to work with the characters. It also makes it a lot easier to help develop them. And in terms of like challenges, you don't have to spend so long just like throwing in this person did this person did this, and this person did this, because not everybody there has like the development to really matter what they did, if that makes sense. That's why I like the reboot just slightly better than Island. It also sometimes, but not as often as this Adventure Camp does, keep me, but it did surprise me with some of the eliminations and the orders. Also, I'm not gonna lie, a big part of why it is right there is because Julia is one of my top favorite Total Drama characters, and this, of course, was her debut season, so go Julia. We're gonna move on to number 3, which is Total Drama World Tour. Now, you guys might be mad at me. Why is Total Drama World Tour not on up on number 1? The reason that Total Drama World Tour does not make it to number 1 is it was very interesting what they did with the 3 teams. It was a very interesting idea, very likable, and something that this Adventure Camp All-Stars has pulled off a lot better. Total Drama World Tour did not manage to pull it off very well. It seemed like they basically just created Team Victory to throw in a group of like the show's most likable characters, or at least some of them that were popular in past seasons, only to have them lose almost every challenge and get eliminated one by one up until DJ was just kind of forced to go home. That, to me, was a huge blow to like World Tour's likability. You might be wondering, like, okay, so yeah, that's bad, but was it really all that bad to where it drug it down to this far? Well, there was a few more issues with World Tour. Simply like little things like the fact that Alejandro got so shocked every time Heather betrayed him, or like vice versa. Clearly the two like were not paying very close attention to each other. That, to me, it just seemed like bad writing. At least with Julia and MK, when they betrayed each other, they already seen it coming, and like that's why, for the most part, they don't really care if they betray each other. Another reason is simply because a lot of, like I said, a lot of the more beloved characters from the past seasons, Harold, DJ, Lashana, Team Victory just kind of got screwed, all in all. Also with the new characters, I liked Alejandro, but Sierra, I was not a big fan of, and someone made a point once, because I was reading through like a list of characters and why, ranks and why they were where they were, and Sierra was pretty low on the bottom, and someone made a comment about like how she should have been eliminated quicker, and someone else made a comment about how it would have been stupid for them to have created a new character to boot her off early. that does make sense. That adds up. Why would you create a new character to boot her off very quickly? I completely agree with that statement. However, having her make it as far as the final, I think she made it either to the final 4 or final 5. I think it was the final 4, but definitely for sure final 5. That was too far, in my opinion. Sierra really didn't add enough to the table to get her, make her feel that engaging. I feel like she could have been an earlier boot. Other than that, though, World Tour hit on all cylinders, and keep in mind this top 3 list was very, very hard to do because the challenges, amazing. I loved how they was going to different places and doing different things. The elimination way, like getting thrown out of the plane, amazing. I loved it. The musical number that they had to do every episode, amazing. I loved it. I've got a few of them memorized in my head, like the friendship with Owen and Noah, amazing. A lot of things just hit so well in World Tour. It was just a few things did not. Moving up one spot into the number 2, we have the second season of the reboot. Now, I've heard controversies on like which one was better out of the 2. First of all, I like Wayne better than I like Priya. It's not like I was really rooting for Wayne to win or whatever. In fact, I was kind of rooting for Caleb in the final 3. But Wayne winning was not bad at all. And the reason that I liked Wayne better than Priya is because Priya was supposed to be that like goody two-shoes, everybody loves her character. But you really got to see Wayne's heart. Especially in the second season when he's without Raj. Like, you really get to see just how unconditionally nice and loving this guy is. And it makes you like just want him to win. And when he does win, even though Wayne isn't all that strong of a competitor or whatever, you still feel like, you know what? The guy deserves it. Also, the fact that, Bowie was struggling with the relationship with Raj, like, he was the king of manipulation in season 1, and then in season 2, you've got like a goody two-shoes boyfriend, and it kind of comes down to, do you want to be a good boyfriend, or do you want to be a good competitor? And it was very interesting to watch Bowie debate on what kind of person he wanted to be. Also, the relationship between Julia and MK being, just strengthened. I loved it. I loved seeing how close they got and all that. And even if because a lot of people know, like, I like girl-on-girl relationships. It's not like a sexual thing. I find it more innocent, cute. I don't know. But, like, even if it doesn't turn romantic, it is still very wholesome to see, like, these two can do just about anything to each other and make up. And, like, whereas I don't quite do as much stuff with, like, my friend, like, me and my best friend are the same way. We can do just about anything to each other and always come back together in the end with really no hard feelings. That is true friendship. That is, Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about the season 2 reboot because I could go on and on and on and on and on about this, and like how they developed a lot of characters and like this and that, but you get the point already. Season 2 of the reboot, the whole reboot to begin with was just amazing, but season 2 really hit it for me. And in the number 1 spot, we have the Redonkulus race. Now, the reason that the Redonkulus race stomped out both of those is because it had everything that World Tour had, but lacked the things it didn't. First of all, like, overly annoying characters like the LARPers were eliminated very quickly. Characters that had a lot of intrigue were around a lot. The constant will they, won't they with the daters slash haters was awesome. The whole, like, dynamic between Carrie and Devin, whereas it got annoying a couple of times, it was overall cute. The father and son relationship between Dwayne and Junior was really cool. You know, Total Drama could never really do anything like that before a season like this, so something like that actually hit very, very well. Also, the Goth's identity crisis was just hilarious. I could not get enough of it. The Redonkulus race was something special when it comes to Total Drama. To be quite honest, like, when they came out with the reboot, I was slightly disappointed. Only slightly, because I was hoping for a season 2 of the Redonkulus race. But to be quite honest, it didn't really, like, you know, it didn't flop that it was the remakes. It was just slightly disappointing because I think we all need a little bit more Redonkulus race in our lives. And it opens up the door for not only, like, did it open up the door for the Total Drama series to be reborn and, like, allow them to go back to the Survivor-esque style, but, like, it showed that there are more than one, like, reality shows that you can capitalize with Total Drama. There's Survivor, there's Big Brother, there's The Amazing Race, there's Hell's Kitchen. Like, there are so many shows that have like, elimination type deals that Total Drama could play on. I kind of want to see, like, a Total Drama Big Brother now that they've got a Redonkulus race, but it might not happen. We might not even get another season of the Redonkulus race. But that is it. That is the rankings. I hope you guys liked them. If you didn't agree with them, that is completely fine. One thing I try to install in my videos, and more or less like into my life in general, is that nothing is a one-size-fits-all. Like with this, there are people that are probably, you know, and there's probably very few of them out there, but there are probably people out there that loved All Stars, and like they're very unhappy every time they see it very low on the list. It's just my personal opinions. I love the Redonkulus race because it had a lot of interesting and cool characters in it. I loved the reboot because they developed the characters a lot better. They handled the challenges pretty well. You know, everything is kind of up to opinion. And also kind of personality. Like mine, as a writer, like my personality goes into it. Ooh, that was loud. My personality goes into it just from a writing standpoint. You know, how good is this compared to something else? You know, and do I think the writer could have done better? Or writers, I guess, because there's not really one for a series, I guess. But yeah, so just a quick recap. You know, if someone wants to put a little timestamp in there, save everybody some time, save them my rambling, whatever, Here's like the quick line of it. Number 10, also not dishonorable. Number 10, an honorable mention, Disventure Camp. There we go. Number 9, Pocket Tail Island. Number 8 is All Stars. Number 7 is Action. Number 6 is Revenge of the Island. Number 5 is Island. Number 4 is the reboot. Number 3 is World Tour. Number 2 is the second season of the reboot. And number 1 is the Redonkulous race. I'm A-Bomb Clark. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you guys more in the future. I will, again, try to do more videos. I haven't really been uploading too much here lately. I've had a lot going on. But now that I'm a little bit more free, I have the day off tomorrow. I would like to do another video either tonight or maybe sometime tomorrow. We'll see what happens though. Anyways, I'm Oscilla Pasta. See you later. I hope you have an awesome day.